Welcome into the light. And before I even get into this case, this is a missing 2-year-old child. This is a baby, and I don't mess around with my babies. So hit that share button right now before we even hear the details. Right this second, please share this. Even though this is centered in Alabama, you never know who this may get to on your FYP, who may have information regarding this child, Genesis Reed, or her mother, who we're going to get into, that they need tips on. So please hit that share button this second. We've done it, right? Thank you very much. It is appreciated. Okay. This is a baby girl that needs help. So we're going to shed light on this case because there's a lot going on. There's concerning things regarding her mother in this case, unfortunately. Let's get into the details and shed light on the case of Genesis Reed. Now, Genesis Nova Reed was reported missing around 3 a.m. local time by her mother on February 16th from her Alabama home. Her mother reported that she was not found in her bed at home on Apache Drive in Enterprise, Alabama, and the front door was open. They initially had her age wrong in the flyer as well as her name spelt wrong, which they spelt wrong in this initial flyer as well, which they had to correct. Now, Genesis is 2 years old and she's expected to turn 3 in this upcoming March. Now, according to investigators, the child's mother told police that she went to check on Genesis and discovered that she was not in the home. However, as this investigation progressed and detectives spoke to neighbors, it was determined that the child had not been seen in several weeks. One neighbor actually alleged that they noticed Genesis and her mom had stopped their routine walks on Apache Drive a few weeks ago. Another neighbor said that she had not seen Genesis, who used to play outside with her child, since Christmas. And a third neighbor claimed to media that he saw Genesis' mother alone at a store on Valentine's Day, but when he asked about her daughter's whereabouts, she allegedly only replied, quote, "I don't know," and walked away. Now, when Tuesday rolled along, officials did say that Genesis' mom, Adrienne Reed, shown here, was being questioned as they were looking for a woman named Mariah. And Mariah is known as a Black female, they described, who frequented Levels Bar and Grill on Daleville Avenue in Enterprise, as well as areas in Ozark. Now, police have still asked that if Mariah or anyone who knows her or has any information or connection to Genesis or Adrienne Reed, the mother, they should contact authorities immediately, and that the missing child's father and other relatives have been cooperating fully with the investigation. Now, later on that Tuesday, with everything that the investigators were finding out in looking for Genesis, they came to the conclusion that Adrienne Reed was to be arrested, and she was charged with making a false report to law enforcement that afternoon. She was held without bond on a Class C felony, and she is facing a $1 million cash-only bond in this instance. Now, I will share at the end of this video a press conference that the authorities did hold. However, at this time, she is still being held in the local county jail. And since this came out, a lot more information has come out about Adrienne, and there are more details on the search of Genesis. Now, on Wednesday, February 18th, cadaver dogs were brought into Enterprise, Alabama to assist with the search. However, despite hours of searching the woods, the dogs did not find anything of evidential value, according to Police Chief Moore. They have also searched the drainage and sewer pipes surrounding the apartment where Adrienne and Genesis were living. Now, to quote the police chief, he said, "Thank God we didn't find anything." He said, "We are encouraged by the absence of any findings in that area and remain committed to a thorough, methodical investigative process. That search did not yield any items of evidential value. The search is part of a standard investigation technique and was done to rule out the immediate area surrounding the apartment complex. Our focus has not shifted," Moore said. "Our mission remains clear: to locate Genesis and bring her home." Now, Wednesday was very busy because the county district attorney, James Tarbuck, also appeared in Zoom before the district judge, Josh Wilson, where they heard testimony from the Enterprise police detective regarding the facts and circumstances surrounding the disappearance of Genesis. And based on this testimony, the prosecution argued that Adrienne Reid, the mother, is the only known suspect in the disappearance of the child. They stated, quote, Adrienne Reid has hidden or destroyed evidence relative to the case, and Adrienne Reid is a flight risk, should be released from custody. The standard bond, as mentioned before, for a Class C felony in Alabama ranges from $2,500 to $15,000. There's no mechanism to hold Adrienne Reid without bond in this matter, he said. She's entitled to bond under the Constitution of the United States and the state of Alabama. Now, he went on to argue that the standard bond amounts in this case were wholly unreasonable and did ask the judge to impose the $1 million cash bond, which obviously is incredibly much higher than the $2,500 to $15,000 range typically. Prosecutors also asked that Adrienne Reid be released on bond, that she should be subjected to GPS monitoring and drug testing, that she be required to check in daily at the Enterprise Police Department, and that she is prohibited from leaving Coffee County. The judge wound up granting all of the prosecution's requests, and Adrienne has asked for a court-appointed attorney. When it was asked if the high bond amount was indicative of Reid being responsible for the disappearance of 2-year-old Genesis Reid or the possible unaliving of her daughter, it was said that it's too early to speculate. The current goal is to bring Genesis home to her family. Quote, the $1 million cash bond is high, but right now, as mentioned, Adrienne Reid is the only person who knows where Genesis Reid is, and so we wanted to ensure that we know where she, Reid, is. He went on to say, I can't get into why, but we do believe that if she were able to post bond, that she is a flight risk. Now, the police are asking anyone to come forward if they've had any type of relationship with Adrienne Reid or interaction with her between December 24th, 2025 and February 16th, 2026. The chief said even information that may seem minor could be critical. He went on to say that multiple agencies are assisting in the investigation, including FBI, the U.S. Marshal Service, and to the Coffee County Sheriff's Office. Again, Genesis Reid is described as a Black female with brown eyes and black hair. She is 2 feet, 5 inches tall and weighs approximately 30 pounds. She was last known to be wearing pink Minnie Mouse pajamas. Anyone with information is asked to call police at 334-347-2222. Now, the next part of this I'm going to get into is some other details that are alleged, and some other discourse that is online. So not necessarily facts that have come out as verified from authorities. So I just want to be clear on that. I like to differentiate between the facts I have from authorities and facts that are coming from social media and online discourse. But I just want to let that be known. And as always, again, like I just said, if you have information, please contact authorities. If you say something online that's not necessarily going to make it to authorities, please contact them. Let them know something that you have information on. It does not help if you type it online. You need to talk to somebody. Please help. This is a 2-year-old child. Now, this is pretty normal in a case like this, which is typically, right? Where's dad? When has dad last seen the child? So somebody asked this on social media and Facebook, any word on when dad last seen her? Somebody said Christmas. He tried to get her for New Year's Day. The mom told him no. He asked when he could FaceTime her. She told him the baby was with the godparents. And somebody else replied, she told everyone else the baby was with the dad. The dad lives hours away in Pensacola, Florida. I also saw elsewhere, because again, I try to look through a few places to see if I can verify some things, to see if there's at least some truth to anything on social media. From what I've learned in the Genesis Nova Reid disappearance, the dad was trying to be a father This is on Instagram. The mom was not letting him. He had Genesis on Christmas. Grandma wrote him on February 4th and said that Adrian Reid said she didn't know where the 2-year-old was and that they would be filing a police report. Fast forward to February 16th, she finally made the report after all of the suspicious activity with neighbors questioning where Genesis was. So this is actually Genesis' dad right here, and he does reside in Florida. He drove up 3 hours to Enterprise, Alabama. Obviously very upset, trying to understand what has happened to his daughter, who he did last see on Christmas. Now I'm going to share a video that was taken on scene from a user that was there, and I believe her username is in that video, so I'll make sure to keep it. Now, obviously, this user was a little far back, but you can just kind of see and understand the emotion of how upset he is. Understandably, I can't imagine the helpless feeling he has, and then the anger and rage he has towards Adrian too, right? Because she's got to know what happened, and I'm sure he is furious, he is upset, and all those feelings raging through his body of wanting to know where his daughter is. So here is a video that somebody did capture at that scene.
You can go to jail. He live in Florida. Oh, he mad. He mad. He must control him 2 days. He must control him 2 days. That's the brother right there laughing, doing this stupid shit. That's for brother. That's right. That's the biological daddy right there. Mm-hmm. That's the little girl's daddy. He done drove 3 hours to get here. And they ain't did shit. He said that bullshit, man. Oh, I know that right. Oh, say that shit. Say that shit. She had a jailhouse talking about something. He to break down. He to break down. Girl, I'm trying. Break down. Oh, he to break down. They need to get him. But see, they can't arrest him because he emotional right now. Mm-hmm. He letting out his feelings. He know his baby daddy.
Shit, he want them to stop playing pussyfooting around is what he said.
Y'all playing too much about my baby. Where the fuck is my child?
Now, there has been a lot of community present at the apartment complex and going live on social media. Again, I'm just kind of getting into this case. I've been sick all week, and there were items that were seen being removed from the apartment where Adrian and Genesis have been residing. There was seen rugs, several boxes. It's also being stated that Adrian's mother, who is the child's maternal grandmother, was on scene kind of acting out a bit, saying that she'll support her daughter no matter what has happened and threatening to fight people there. It just seems like it's a lot of tension. There is clearly information being withheld from Adrian. The mother, in this case, evidence bags were absolutely removed from that home. Adrian does have this is a fact, she has a documented history of violence. She has, in 2017, in January, Adrian did use a, quote, sharp instrument to cut her very own mother multiple times to both arms, that when the officer came, they were wrapped in towels, and the cuts were caused by what the officer termed as an edged weapon. The officer used a makeshift tourniquet to slow the bleeding from the most severely injured arm, which reports said that had a 5-inch cut. Paramedics had to rush Adrian's mother to the hospital. She did recover, obviously. Adrian, in 2017, from that incident, was charged with a felony. She pled guilty and reduced to misdemeanor charge. The judge suspended her 12-month sentence and ordered her to serve 2 years of unsupervised parole in that case. However, I do want to remain focused on Genesis in this case. I want everyone to make sure that they know what she looks like. They have her face in their minds. They are aware what Adrian does look like, so that if they've seen her or remember any interactions with her or heard of this woman named Mariah that any interactions with in the Enterprise area of Alabama or within the Ozarks, that they do contact police because any information may be helpful to have a conversation with. Now, I have seen that the authorities are about to give a press conference update, so I'm going to go watch that, and I will make sure to post that update as soon as I have it for you all to watch as well. Thank you so much for tuning into The Light. Please make sure that you do share this, and make sure you're following me for any updates on this case and many more that I do cover on my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, what happens in the dark will always come to the light. Stay safe, be kind to one another, and as always, I will see you all in the next one.
And thank you for being here. We continue to provide daily updates as we promised, and we are able regarding investigation and disappearance of 2-year-old Genesis REID. Today, with the assistance of East Alabama Canine Search and Rescue, a significant area surrounding the residence was searched using a certified cadaver canine. That search did not yield any items of evidential value. This search is a part of a standard investigation techniques and was done to rule out the immediate area surrounding the apartment complex. We are encouraged by the absence of any findings in that area, and we remain committed to a thorough, methodical investigative process as we continue forward. We will continue to conduct targeted searches and aggressively follow every credible lead. Our focus has not shifted. Our mission remains clear: to locate Genesis and bring her home. In addition, we are asking for public's assistance. We are specifically requesting that anyone who had any type of personal relationship or social interaction with Adrian REID between December 24th, 2025 and February 16th, 2026, please come forward. Even information that may seem minor could be critical. If you have any information, contact the Enterprise Police Department immediately at 334-347-2222. You may be a key piece in helping us determine Genesis' whereabouts. Again, we appreciate the support of all of those law enforcement agencies and community partners involved in this investigation and search. Our priority and our commitment is to find Genesis. That's the update that I have from the police department. DA James Tarbax has one that he'd like to give to.
I want to update you on the legal proceedings involving Adrian REID. Today, Adrian REID appeared via Zoom video teleconference before District Judge Josh Wilson for an initial appearance on her charge of false report to law enforcement. I represented the state of Alabama at that proceeding. During the hearing, Judge Wilson heard testimony from an Enterprise Police Department detective regarding facts and circumstances related to the current investigation into the disappearance of Genesis REID. Based on the testimony, the state argued that Adrian REID is the only known suspect in the disappearance of Genesis REID. Adrian REID has hidden and or destroyed evidence relevant to this case, and Adrian REID is a flight risk should she be released from custody. The standard bond schedule for a Class C felony in Alabama is $2,500 to $15,000. There is no mechanism to hold Adrian REID without bond in this matter. She is entitled to bond under the constitutions of the United States and the state of Alabama. The state argued that the bond schedule amounts in this matter for a Class C felony are wholly unreasonable and asked for the following bond and stipulations if the defendant is able to post that bond. We asked for a $1 million cash-only bond. We ask that if she's released from bond, that she be subjected to GPS monitoring, that she be required to submit to the court referral office and participate in active drug screening, that she be required to check in on a daily basis at the Enterprise Police Department, and also that she not be allowed to leave the geographic boundaries of Coffee County, Alabama without permission of the court. Judge Wilson granted each and every one of these requests and set the bond at $1 million cash only. Adrian REID has requested court-appointed counsel, and that request is currently under advisement by the court. We are grateful to Judge Wilson for his decision regarding bond in this matter, and believe that this decision represents the magnitude of what is occurring in this community and in this investigation. Mayor?
First, we'd like to say good evening to everyone, and I would just like to thank Chief Moore and the District Attorney, the Sheriff's Office, the U.S. Marshals, the FBI, and those of you who are out there helping to try to help find this child. The main thing is that if you're not involved, stay out of the way. Leave it to the people in charge who know what they are doing. And again, I feel as if this goes on as it is now, we will be able to find that young lady. So all we are listening to and what we're talking about, just try to keep it down and let's stick to the point. And let us not forget that God is still good. Thank you.
With that, we'll take your questions.
For the search with the cadaver dogs, was it just that area around the apartments, or are there other targeted wooded areas that were included in that?
We'll use, because again, we have such a great community statewide, we've asked for others when we get a new area that needs to be searched, any evidence that, or any leads really that would lead us to try to check other places. We certainly would use them anywhere we need to. Currently, there isn't anywhere, but again, that can change by tomorrow. We don't know what we don't know.
Just kind of talking a little bit about some of the, I guess, areas. I know we've only seen just the woods. I'm sure maybe other people only saw just the woods, but I'm sure it was maybe other areas too that you maybe provide.
Sure. So we the wooded area is obviously a very large area. The cadaver dogs are trained on such as that. It's to search large areas and pick up odors that the normal nose can't do. Right. So the dog was used. We have at our disposal of other canines for larger areas. It was just we assumed that one. I assumed we knew that one could handle that area. It's searched from the wooded area to drainage. I'm sure people saw it on Facebook. We were looking in drains. Look anywhere that the dog gave any type of notification or positive ID that could be something there. There's a lot of things, nuances to having a canine, and I trust the handler. I trust the professionals, just like I'm hoping everybody else trusts us. That they know what they're doing. There was places of interest that the dog hit on, but that doesn't mean that we found any evidence. There's a lot of factors that go along in that.
Mr. Tarbox, I was going to ask you, the $1 million bond is quite high. Is that intuitive of your belief that Adrian is indeed responsible for her daughter being missing, or even that she did do something such as murder her?
It's too early to speculate. And obviously, our current goal of this investigation and this whole process is to bring Genesis home to her family. The $1 million cash bond is high, but right now, as mentioned and as testified to by a detective at that hearing, the person in the Coffee County Jail, Adrian REID, is the only person who knows where Genesis REID is. And so we wanted to ensure that we know where she is. And I can't get into why, but we do believe that if she were able to post bond, that she is a flight risk. And so it's important to us as the DA's office, and clearly important to Judge Wilson, that if she does post bond, it is substantial and that somebody's going to be on the hook for a lot of money in the event something were to happen and her appearance is not secured in court.
I know that you always believe that she is the only suspect. I know yesterday there was a person interested. Is that person still being pursued, or is that no longer?
There's many persons of interest. She still he or she, Mariah, is still a person of interest. Again, because investigative leads and who Mariah is, I'm not going into detail of what evidence that we have, but there's still a Mariah out there that could possibly be a key to where Genesis is at. Yes. So again, amongst others that may have the key to this puzzle or the piece to this puzzle, is anybody that's had any contact with her, any social media conversations, anybody that has come and seen Adrian, anybody that has had any dealings with her on a relationship, we need to talk to you. We need to discuss, have a conversation, see if it doesn't help us with that little piece to find Genesis and bring her home.
Can you talk a little bit about the resources that you all pulled in for this? I know you don't want to forget to credit anyone, but there's a lot of people that have helped so far with that with this investigation.
So just off, because seeing them day in and day out through the night and through the day, they haven't left us. Is the FBI, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, Coffee County, the DA's office, our own investigators have not stepped away. Our own police officers not stepped away. Those are the ones that come off the top of my head that have U.S. Marshals that have had an active role in conducting any investigation, any leads. When something comes up, I've been back in the bullpen. When something comes up, somebody jumps up and says, "I take it." So it's not making people do it at this point. It never has. It's always been, what can I do next to help bring her home?
But with the cadaver dogs, have y'all checked where the trash goes at the end of the day site? Have y'all checked that area any, or was it just specifically?
Today was specifically on the property, the surrounding property, right? So investigations in general start small, work out big, and this is no different. It's systematic. So our intent was to either find. And thank God we didn't find anything. But B, also check that list that has been searched. Just like yesterday's grid search, large amount of search, it's the same thing. We systematically do things so we can check them on our list.
And there was speculation that the grandmother had sent the father a text on February 4th about. Was that text message verified?
We're not talking speculation. Again, we're going back to my Facebook and my post today. Earlier is we can speculate all day long, but those people that are speculating, instead of speculating on Facebook,
right,
bring us the information through a tip, okay, and we certainly will follow up on anything. We have things through search warrants that we can find information, but we don't know where to look if somebody doesn't come to us. So Facebook posts, false leads on Facebook, social media, let's minimize that and maximize finding Genesis and bringing her home. Anything else? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.